Hello and welcome to Coffee and Contemplation, and thank you for joining me for today's review. But first, let's enjoy some coffee. Nice. Okay, so to begin today's review, we'll be doing kind of the typical thing, going over a Fortnite solo ranked battle royale game where I get third place. We'll do an analysis of how I got to the top 3 position and then how I failed to remain invisible and capitalize upon third-party advantage in the 1v1v1. And then after that, I'll be going over an aspect of my metagame practice where I draw a model of the eye, as well as I'll be going over my aim training structure in general. And then we'll be more particular about the first third of my aim training routine, first sixth, if you want to be even more particular, and that'll be my session 1 aim training. We'll be going over what I do for my training with both eyes, what I do for my training with my left eye only, with these blindfolds right here. I have 1 handy and 2 handy. This one goes over the right eye. This one goes over the left eye. And so I just have that handy. We'll go over why I do that and how I branch it out into half my practices with both eyes, and then 1/4 with my left eye, 1/4 with my right eye, mounting to half and half of both eyes, whether one eye. Then we'll go over the actual structure of my session 1, the games that I play for it, and then yeah, we'll just jump right in. First, Fortnite solo ranked battle royale. Seemingly good drop. Yeah, pretty dang good. Loot so far is pretty bad. DMR, gray AR, green SMG. Unhappy. I just want to keep moving. I got a shotgun. Green combat. I don't have any shield, so I'm just gonna pop the barrels instantly. Replace the door. Got coconut. I'm gonna replace the other door. Take my time with the barrels, and then I want to continue looking for loot. I'm not happy with my loot off spot, so I'm gonna have to migrate. Find minis, that's good. Extra ammo. We'll go over here. Usually there's extra heals and potential for chest spawn. It's actually a really good spot for heals. I found a half pot, I found a shield fish, I found slap juice. I throw the shield fish over to my base. I carry the med mist. So now I'm very good on heals. I'm just gonna take time to get materials. I'm in zone. 73 players remain. Interesting. Not gonna lie, sometimes it's difficult for me to, between the low resolution of the recording, the low resolution of the in-game, it looks like 67 or 77 players remain. I think, or 37. Anyways, I'm just making the base my own, trying to get max metal. Eventually I'll have all of these recordings at 1080p, and I won't even have to fret. In the meantime, just make do. I decided to carry the shield fish instead of slap juice for immediacy of healing. When it's an emergency, I just want the shield as fast as possible, and so the shield fish is good for that. Later on, I'll prioritize the different healing items in a way to survive storm and just last as long as I can. I think I end up getting Keymaster too, but yeah, for the most part, I'm just remaining in a safe spot. Farmed the first layer, made a base. Now I'm gonna go up to the second layer. Let's check out what augment I get. Once I'm at 500 metal anyway. Got Keymaster. That just means I'm gonna tarp over in metal to where the keys are. I don't want to be exposed. And this is interesting. My first time using this weapon. Heisted Breacher Shotgun. The rhythm and timing is that of a heavy shotgun rather, and the special component of it being exotic and heisted is that I believe it one-shots players' walls. So I actually got pretty fortunate. It's a very strong weapon. Probably stronger in team game modes than solo, but I'm not going to write it off. Something funny happens later on with my next augment, where heisted exotic bag was an option. I selected the option thinking I could maybe get an SMG or something like that. I knew that there was a chance I'd get a repeat of the weapon I had just gotten. It ends up I get the exact same weapon. So at this point I'm tallying up on my white heals, just kind of calculating in my head because I'm not in zone. But honestly, with the resources I have, I just want to move late. I'm not really feeling rotating early. People are very aggressive and I'm in a safe spot. Yeah, pretty funny. That augment just gives me the same weapon. Now I'm just gonna top off my mats. Because I boxed over to the Keymaster place, I spent like 200 metal. So I'll just take semi-safe farming angles. Maintain right hand peak, forward, lower right. Now I'm just gonna sit in a cone. I find 5 more bandages, I'll pick them up. Now I have 15 bandages, med mist, 3 slap juice, 2 corn on the cob, and then that is all my white heals. So I'm just gonna be sitting here for a while. Thing is too, it's good for me to practice sitting in zone and healing. Like, I need to know the nuance of what zone's damage is, so in this context it's doing 1 damage per tick, meaning bandage takes 4 seconds, I believe. So I need to pop it at 5 HP at the minimum. But to get most value while staying high HP, because it heals for plus 15, I believe, I want to time it at 63, so that it's like 63, 62, 61, and by the time I'm 60 or 59 HP, it'll boost back up to 75, and so that's what I'm trying to do here. My timing's not perfect, but that's cool. I get like 15 chances to do it right. Sometimes even in these small moments, a diverse approach on an edge zone, you can really get used to timing that may save you later in the tournament. So here, I'm paying attention to zone. I'm just going to have to rotate to north edge later on. I'm using my bandages one at a time, positioning for the rest. I don't know what happened. Maybe there was corn on the cob. Maybe it was a different game I played. Either way, no big deal. Just going to use these bandages, and then I'm going to use 1 slap juice. Once the bandages are gone, I'll probably carry shieldfish. And then I'll make a break. Where I end up rotating, I think in the future when I have to rotate south, I'm just going to strategize to rotate there, because there's a chest spawn as well as a healing item spawn. And a couple floor loot spawns. So, because I'm in Storm, I'm going to want as much white heals as I can. It's good to navigate to a spot that's loot dense for the chance to find extra stuff. So I use all the bandages, I use a slap juice, I find a piece of meat, luckily from a chicken someone killed, and then at the end of my sprint I use a slap juice actually, just to get max sprint value. So I go over here and this is what I'm talking about. This RV has lots of potential for heals. This first bandage exposed is a mistake. I cover my back wall, which is pretty good. Oh, here's the corn. Interesting. A couple cabbage pieces as well. You can just buy a lot of time. I probably should have boxed up completely. I'm fairly well protected. I do box up completely. Now it's just the same sort of thing. It's still 1 tick on this zone. When it's 2 tick, I need to pop my bandage by like 10 HP or like 65 HP, something like that. So now I'm in zone. I see where zone's gonna go next. 11 players remain. I'm getting good placement. I'm gonna go to where half in, half out meets, edge zone. Now there's 10 players remaining. Kills are rewarded at a higher threshold at this point. I find Flopper, I take Flopper, I carry Chug Splashes. I still have 2 slap juice. I eat 1. I use this to get to zone, and then I'm going to use my med mist to top off the rest of the way. As zone creeps in, I'm able to just attach to this base. Pretty nice, can't complain. Because what this place is a cache, meaning I don't have to use my med mist, I get to use a med kit. Arguably, I should have thrown that med kit into my box and then done it, but ended up kind of being relevant. I see I have to rotate. I'm just going to rotate early. I get shot at, I have to box out from the left. I think I saw him there, meaning I should have pre-protected. Oh, he's in the box. We'll slow this down. This is a pretty meaningful engagement. He ends up in my box, but I don't panic. I do a defensive cone edit, get behind two pieces. The piece in front of me, the wall, and then we'll see what happens. That's all I've seen so far. He ends up in my box. I block his shotgun shot with a good cone edit. He tries to take the piece in front of me. I get the piece. I hit him with a splinter window at the right hand peak. I position in a way he can't hit me by strafing forward and to the right. I do a right window edit. He messes up the piece he's standing on top of because he's fully trapped. He's dead. And I don't know if I'm proud of this, but I ended up getting the kill and dancing on him. I did that to honor the spirit of the thing itself. Just because normally I don't win that fight. At least in that quick manner. We'll watch it again. Because he's very aggressive. So I box up. I'm looking to heal. He's on my right wall. He's in my main box. Yeah. I should have done... We'll go in quarter speed and I can talk through this, what I should have done. Okay, I box up here. This is good. I should chug splash at this point. Cone up, floor down. My walls should have came in from the other way, but I didn't expect him to jump in like that. So he jumped into my box, and I just had him fully trapped. Look, he jumps in right here, and then I have him trapped by placing that wall and editing that cone. Pretty terrifying. Because he had a mythic havoc, I would be dead. So then, he's fully trapped. Besides the piece he's standing on. I take the center window, shoot him at an angle he can't return fire. He's trying to be defensive, and he takes the wall. Now he controls two pieces. I have two options. Oh, the piece behind him is dead too. My shotgun bled through, that's why it's a heisted exotic shotgun. So at this point, I want to take the wall behind him as well as the wall in front of me. Or, I want to flank, take the wall behind him, and hit him with a right-hand peek. So I try to take the wall, and I take the wall behind him, I edit the right window, right hand peek, move into him. Dead. Okay. Now dancing, I don't know. I should just box up with the extra mats immediately. But, I was happy. Now I have a lot of extra mats to work with, I'll just tarp to center zone. I guess I danced because he only got 2 AR tags on me and pushed in a super reckless manner. My building was suboptimal on the defense, at least initially, but my edit reaction was good. And he gives me a rotation tool with Spider-Man. Another person comes. This guy, later on I have an engagement with him. For the most part, he's beneath me, forward and to the right. He takes my floor. I take his floor back, using that right hand peek, he misses my window. I edit here. I gotta learn what angle is perfect. We'll watch this at 0.25 actually. I want to be able to punish his attempt on a right hand peek on a front wall with a right hand peek on my right wall. Because I should have the advantage with the right hand peek on my right wall. But so here I'm standing hard to the right. Don't know if it's good or bad. I check out where he is. I have my right wall, right hand peek. He misses his pre-fire. But even this, my editing isn't perfect. He takes the floor back. I could have hit him there. I was a little bit slow. I re-edit so that on my forward wall, I can retake the floor piece. And then my forward wall, oh, okay, it's still my right wall. I have a right. He hits me harder than I hit him because I was too far to the right. I back up and heal. He presses the piece in front of me. I should have done that before I actually could have hit him before at it. Walk forward, hold that right hand peek, hit him in the head. On the right side. He takes the floor. I'm a little bit nervous. I re-edit the wall. I have so much room with the tarp to work with. He gets shot at just a bit, and I think he disengages. So I take the piece. I'm looking to hold an angle. He's kind of around my tunnel. No major threat. And now he rotates out. I have extra wood, but I'm just gonna swing the zone. Enemy here. I box up. I use a good amount of mats here. I keep my wall. If I place the floor, I could have boxed him there, potentially. Either way, he ends up disengaging and going elsewhere. I efficient tarp ahead. He hits me with 2 SMG bullets. No, he's beneath me. I pop a slurp because I'm gonna have to rotate in zone. There's 5 players left at this point. I still have pretty good mats. But now I'm done with my white kills. I actually get freaking hit right off the bat, but I'm healing good. I just decided to box up here. Next is a north rotation. I'm on the far side. Or I guess the close side to zone. So I tarp a little bit ahead to get ahead of zone, instead of using the Spider-Man on this rotation. Which is good, because they send grenades. I defend their onslaught a bit. I get hit by 1 SMG shot. I think I hit him with 12 damage. Yeah, 12 damage. Now I just do efficient tarp with wood. Trying to spray out enemy high ground. But I should just go to zone, dude. I don't know why I'm trying to play high at this angle. They have ODM gear and stuff. Just go to zone. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So a guy pressuring me from below. I hold a right hand peek. I take my piece back. I'm running low on mats here. Only 80 metal. So at this point I'm pretty desperate. So I should have rotated it efficiently to zone, and then I would have been able to box up in zone. My priority should have been getting to the white circle and boxing up and looking back for a kill opportunity. Instead I looked back for a kill opportunity at the wrong time. Okay, kill opportunity here. I actually hit him 93, but I failed to mantle up. There's 4 players remain. 3 players remain. But I'm dead to zone because I wasn't able to mantle up. Kind of a sad death. Even so, I find a good fight opportunity. I jump down. I find him here. He's hit hard. I should have just mantled up, and then I would have been able to chase him down, get the kill, and then Spider-Man to zone. Even so, I should have Spider-Man to zone. I didn't think I'd get blocked by the sledge. But yeah. And then I ended up going from 67% flat 1 to 81. Just a minor boost. Okay, this concludes that. Not the greatest game, not the worst game. I actually liked how I approached healing in zone and rotating late and practicing bandages in particular. And I failed to execute with a mantle, and otherwise I would have been put into a really good position. It would have been high ground, and then mid ground versus me on low ground, but then I would have just gotten a refresh. I had the option to Spider-Man, and then third party when they fight. Okay, so next we're going to go over my diagram that I draw as part of my metagame practice for session 1 of View of the Eye. And then in addition to that, because View of the Eye and aim training are like intertwined, then I'll be going over my aim training structure in the same video. So then after that, I'll go over my actual session 1 aim training and we can watch it. All right. So I'll just run through it. So initially, I'm doing a label here that is laying out my entire aim training structure. So session 1, session 2, and session 3 are the different sessions that I'm laying out here for this session 1 view of the eye. For session 4 view of the eye, I'll do the same thing but with session 4, session 5, and session 6. And the order would be reversed. But yeah, for session 1, it's target acquisition flick, bounce 180 tracking small, Fugla XY short strafes. For session 2, it's pat target shotgun, pat target switch V2, and smoothness trainer. For session 3, it's one wall, 5 targets, LG pin practice, and air angelic. And I'll go through that in more detail. But those are just the names of the Kovacs drills that I practice. And then I'll be going through a diagram of the eye. I think that anatomically it's interesting to learn about the structure of certain parts of your biology, but the eye in particular is interesting because it's one of your primary ways of interfacing with reality is sensory detection using light and how light translates into various brain waves. So what I actually just did there, this part of your eye is called the fovea. It's like a really sensitive part of your retina, and it's actually at the back up of your eyeball, and that's because the light that your eye is perceiving is coming in at an inverted angle. I actually am not very good at explaining this stuff, so I have the diagram memorized essentially, and I'm trying to remember the constituent components and trying to, well, the fancy terminology would be understand the structural functional organization of the eye based on my lived experience, based on my training, and based on my exploration of the best models out there in terms of medicine and stuff. And so my knowledge right now compared to the cutting edge, I'm not even 1/10 of 1%, but what I am doing is trying to be more open-minded to exploring the structure of the eye and then how I can understand from the structure different practices to implement that actually improve health of the eye as well as performance at a sensory level. And so, while I'm not able to give the best reasons and terminology, and I'm not able to back up my stuff, this is just an example of my exploration drawing a diagram of the eye. And I know that the fovea and light is reflected or refracted, I don't know the proper terminology, in a way that you wouldn't necessarily expect. The upper part of your eye viewing the lower field of view, watching out for snakes and such. Whereas the lower part of your eye, which is still retinal cells and sensitive, it's just sensitive in a different way. And I'll go over that later on when I go over rods and cones very briefly at a rudimentary elementary level. I actually would refer to Andrew Huberman again, who I referenced in an earlier episode. Just in general, he is an ophthalmologist, which I believe they study eyes, and he has done numerous episodes talking about the biology of eyes and the biomechanics and how to optimize. A lot of my aim training protocols were done based on my own exploration, based in addition to using pro gamers tactics, in addition to using well-informed positions from neuroscience and cognitive science and psychology and stuff. And so the neuroscience would be Andrew Huberman, and I recommend him highly. And then the neuroscience would be coming from a few different sources in addition to that. But at my level of understanding, it's very elementary, and I'm really just kind of touching the surface. But I'm open to exploration, and I think that that's a big deal. So at this point, I've broken the eye down into various parts. Virtuous humor, I think, is like an aqueous fluid that kind of stabilizes the eye. I don't really know that much about it. Optic nerve is like the direct connection into your brain. It's the thing transmitting all of the information you're taking in and getting it ready to communicate to. I think it goes from optic nerve to hypothalamus, which is like your lower, more primitive brain connection before it branches up into your prefrontal cortex. And so I think that I'm very elementary. Like I said, I don't know my stuff. But yeah, optic nerve is for translating and processing the data so that your brain can utilize that data first at a lower level and then at a higher level. I think that that's fair to say. The macula is, in general, a sensitive area of the retina. So I guess first we'll go from the outside in. The sclera is the whites of the eyes around everything. The choroid is like a layer. I don't really know its purpose. I imagine it's like to protect the retina as well as just make sure nutrients are spread about. Again, I have to do more research. I don't know anything. The retina is the layer at which the information is processed, the light information. And then I think the VH is just supposed to provide a steady state so that the retina isn't exposed to any danger and just in a stable place to be able to process the various light inputs. I don't know. And then so the lens, similar thing as the VH. I'm sure it's just like main purpose is to stabilize as well as focus light. Cornea is the part of your eye that you touch when you're putting contacts on. So it's like the outer protection of your eye. And then the iris is the colored portion of your eye, and I think it's what expands and constricts, but I don't actually know for sure. The pupil is in there too, and it's hard for me to distinguish and know the difference between a pupil and an iris, so I'm actually gonna take this as a chance to look it up. Okay. What is the difference between a pupil and an iris? The pupil and iris are both parts of the human eye, but they serve different functions. The iris... Okay, so we'll stop with that. The pupil and iris are both parts of the human eye, but they serve different functions. So they are separate. So I don't want to clump them and label them in my head, so perhaps in the future I can add pupil. The iris is the colored portion of the eye that surrounds the pupil. It consists of a circular muscle that controls the size of the pupil. Okay, so the pupil is a circular muscle that controls the size. The iris determines the eye's color and helps regulate the amount of light that enters the eye by adjusting the size of the pupil. That's interesting. So, the pupil is what actually does the constriction, and the iris... That's interesting. The pupil, on the other hand, is the black circular opening in the center of the iris. It appears black because the inner structures of the eye, such as the retina, absorb most of the light that enters through the pupil. The pupil's size changes in response to the amount of light available in the environment. Okay, wow, I read that completely with the wrong phraseology. In summary, the iris is the colored part of the eye, while the pupil is the adjusting opening in the center of the eye that controls the amount of light entering the eye. Okay, that's cool. In the future, perhaps I can add pupil for the muscle that is circular and opening. Anyways, I digress. Now we'll be going over the different types of retinal cells. So this actually is what affects your perception of color, and at the level of like motor output or propositional strategization, you're using your retinal rods and cones and the information you're getting from that. So the rod is like kind of processing the gross data, like the blacks and the whites and the grays, and you're gonna find that distributed at the odd parts, well, basically all around your retina, but not as highly dense in the macula or fovea compared to the cones in that area. So this is just like for if there's a light turned on or off in general, your rod is going to be the thing detecting that. Whereas the cone is what actually gives you colored perception, like along the rainbow. So then I write for the rod gross data for that type of cell in your retina, and then for the cone, that type of cell in your retina, it's the colored perception, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Anyways, so my aim training is broken up for this first half of my practice, the session 1 view of the eye, into session 1, session 2, session 3, and I'll go over all of those Kovacs training scenarios. There's 9 in total. At a later point, we're just going to be going over session 1 right now. And then this is the model and diagram of the eye that I'm using to kind of provide a foundation, and it just is a meditation I'm trying to improve my aim in games, so I should try to improve my knowledge of the eye and how it functions at the level of health and at the level of training. That's the thought process behind it. And then the next is actually my aim training for session 1. The first drill I do is target acquisition flick, where what I must do before I can hit the secondary stationary target is hit the target that's bouncing around. And what I'm aiming for, because the first drill I do is both eyes, we can actually go over paint. So view of the eye and aim training structure we've gone over. Now we're going to go over session 1 aim training both eyes. Then we're going to go over session 1 aim training left eye and right eye. The first drill we're going to be doing is target acquisition flick for both eyes. On target acquisition flick, I need to hit 88 targets on TA. Bounce 180. I need to hit 25 targets, or kill 25 targets. And then for Fugla XY short strafes, it's 2.5k. And then for left eye, it would be 44, 13, and 1.3k. And we'll just go through that very briefly, because I actually have to be wrapping up around at the hour here. It's 9:54. I have so the first thing, this target acquisition flick, like I was saying, we'll go over what my percentages are and if it's above or below baseline. I've spent a lot of time on this drill. This was one of the first drills, hard practiced, worthwhile. You want to hit the reactive target, hit the stationary target in one fluid motion. And so it's fine to take your time on the reactive target. Just make sure you're aiming with accuracy. I'm aiming to kill 88, so I'm at 22 right now with a 91% accuracy. I'm going to seek ahead to where I'm closer to 88. So I'm at 80 right now, and I'm taking a lot of time here to do this first drill, but you just do what's intuitive when you're exploring this. If you want to miss a whole lot more and take more chances, that's fine. I've just spent a lot of time in a disciplined mode getting this. So my percentage ends up being 89% on this. I'd say anything above 80% is actually exceptional. My next drill is bounce 180, tracking small, and I'm aiming to kill 25 targets here. So after we killed the first 5, so that's the first one. That's the second one. Anything above 60-65% here I really like. That's the 4th and 5th, and we're going to seek ahead just for time's sake. So now we're at 23. 66% is my current percent. 67. And I finish at 67.9%. That's good. Fuglax by short strafe is a tracking drill, going left to right as best you can. And then the accuracy, when it's at 1.3k, that's when I finish the drill. And this one is just like continuous tracking. It's really worthwhile. I end up at 45%, which is quite good. I'd say anything over like 38-40% is quite good. And we're just going to be doing a quick analysis of the same thing. So then this one is my left eye. We're going to go to where it's 44, and I'll have all the links in the description if you want to check it out yourself. This one ended up at 86%, which is 6% above the baseline that I'm looking for. Target, or bounce 180, tracking small next. I kill 13 targets, and I finish up at 67%. That's not bad. It's 7% above what I think is a good baseline. Fugla XY short strafe. I'm just going through very quickly. This one I end at, oh, actually my numbers here are wrong. It's 550 and 220, or 275. Yeah, I guess. It's not perfect right now, but anyways, you kind of get the point. That's my left eye. Then right eye, same thing. I took a lot more time on my target acquisition flick on my right eye, as you can see. It ends up really high percentage, actually. 95.2% so far. 95.5. 95.7. That's one of my best ever. I mean, I took time there, but still quite good. And then this one, I kill 13 targets. I end at 68%, which is also very good. Food XY short strafes, I go until I'm at 275-ish. Or actually, yeah, 275, 45%, 5% above baseline. Well, thank you guys for joining. I'm sorry to wrap up so quickly at the end. I just have to run in 3 minutes. So anyways, thank you for joining today. And I'll probably be back tomorrow with some more exploration of various aspects of my practice. This is a good outline of the eye, as well as how I'm trying to train and use the eye in an effective and efficient manner in the context of a video game. I went over my session 1 aim training practice. So session 1 aim training is done. I went over both eyes. I went over left eye. I went over right eye. I went over target acquisition flick. I went over bounce 180 tracking small. I went over Fugla XY short strafes. Anyways, that's about all.